Tonight's satsang is about discussing physical immortality and why now, more than any time in our history, is it important to be discussing the subject of physical immortality. You understand that there is a program that has been built into the human condition that is optional, and that human belief system has for way too long uh, chosen that the illusion that this thing called death was inevitable, that there was such an energy or an entity or a destiny for humans to not last long, much less forever. And so it is with this in mind that we have an inherent ability and right to live in optimum health, aliveness, and joy in the same physical third dimensional body indefinitely. The things that causes people to end their life is because they choose to end their life, knowingly or unknowingly, willingly or unwillingly, consciously or unconsciously. And so with this, I bring us into the conversation that could change everything. Because when you are no longer considering dying, you will no longer have suicidal thoughts. You will no longer do destructive behaviors like working yourself too hard or taking too many drugs, drinking too much alcohol, smoking too many cigarettes, being in toxic relationships, driving too fast, taking chances and risks and life and death, putting yourself in life and death situations. You will not even think about it. It will never occur to you. You will never find yourself in a situation that is life threatening, because there is no such thing. Life is eternal and nothing can threaten life. And so you will learn, when you discuss more and more with immortals like BrotherSage and Pauline McNabb and Dr. Jana Lloyd and Peace Arnold, and more of the rebirthers and breath workers and immortals on the planet, you will discover there's a lot more going on than you realize. So by having a discussion about physical immortality, so you have to understand that the reason there is so much overdosing going on and suicide attempts going on and illnesses and accidents and nature out of balance and forest fires out of balance and burning buildings and so-called terrorism and war, is because the human condition, or the human agreed upon belief known as death, is running rapid on the planet. And so in order to purge the death urge, nature does what it can with all its power to shake humanity free of thinking about that. And sometimes it looks like natural disasters, and sometimes it looks like the death of a loved one. Sometimes it looks like a near-death disease, an incurable. Whatever it is, it snaps you back to wanting to totally love yourself, honor yourself, and maintain a physical body forever. And the reason we don't normally talk about it is because it's the kind of thing which is not socially acceptable yet. And so the courageous immortals like myself are willing to take this public, starting with a live stream on Facebook. Even though this is a Zoom call, it will be transferred to Facebook shortly. So you have to understand that what happens to you personally affects everybody collectively. So if you're going around doing things that are kind and gentle and understanding and loving, honoring, and motivating and inspiring yourself, wouldn't that inspire you? Wouldn't that light you up and want you to have more of that? Wouldn't you be excited about letting other people know the good news and seeing if we can spread this as a movement? When physical mortality becomes just as popular as discussing anything, hopefully more than sports and the weather and politics, then we have a greater and greater chance of saving humanity. Because humanity's perception needs a tweaking, needs a shift. And one way to do that is to increase aliveness, some call it Shakti or Kundalini or Prana in yourself by thinking, reading, and discussing the subject of physical immortality. Now, a lot of my followers are pee drinkers. And what did it take to not only to make the shift internally, to take that first sip, to take that first step, but what did it take to be open to a reality that was never A, available to you, and B, considered totally opposite of what it really is? And so we're going to be discussing more and more about physical mortality, because discussing physical mortality means you're going to increase your aliveness. You're going to increase your prosperity. You're going to increase your health and your joy and your intimacy and your spontaneity and your curiosity and your playful nature, because your ability to live forever raises the bar dramatically on the things you will take chances on. And one of the benefits of being physically immortal is that taking a chance on anything that would normally scare you won't kill you. See, one of the things that I have gained a perspective of, or an edge on life, is that I realize that not eating won't kill me. I realize telling people I love you won't kill me. I realize that speaking in front of large groups won't kill me. I realize that being close and intimate with friends won't kill me. And so the things that are still causing you to resist things and take chances, it won't kill you to be wealthy and rich, my friends. It also won't kill you to make donations to Shivambu or the BrotherSage work on the planet. That's okay too. It won't kill you to succeed and prosper in everything you do. It won't kill you to finally surrender to your greatest good. And so there's a lot of benefit about discussing immortality. People ask you, well, how do you know you're physically immortal? You can't be physically immortal, can you? That's the kind of stuff that myths and fairy tales and folklore are made of. Well, how many of you have caught on by now that a lot of myths and folklore and fairy tales were based on reality? Based on a reality and a beings that really existed. However, those taskmasters and those religious zealots and the people who want to keep a lock on the minds of humanity write history to make sure that people don't remember that they are immortal, or that urine is the magic elixir of life, or that you can heal everything, or that eating is optional and suffering is optional, and you don't have to bow to any man or woman or anybody's version of God. You do not have to give up your sovereignty and your freedom and your wealth and abundance and your joy for any reason to anyone. So I hope that will sink in you tonight. It looks like I'm the only one on the call, and that's totally fine with me. And guys, we need to discuss this subject more and more and more. If you want suffering to end, at least for you, talk about physical immortality. Talk about it with me. Talk about it with your friends. Talk about it on the physical immortality Facebook groups. There are a dozen physical immortality discussion groups right now going on Facebook. I'm the admin for two of the physical mortality discussion groups. Can't think of them right now because I'm doing a transmission. So guys, we're going to talk about it, and you're not going to be shy about it. And what's going to happen when we talk about it is all your shit's going to come up about it, and you will fight and kick and scream about why it's impossible to live forever. You want to say that to Babaji, who's 10,000 years old? You want to say that to Enoch? You want to say that to Melchizedek? You want to say that to Bartaji? And you want to say that to mortals that have been around this planet for thousands of years, and some of them have been around for 10,000s of years, but I haven't got a count of all of them yet. So I'm working on it. By the way, if you people want to know if I, Brother Sage, your brother from another mother, is physically immortal, the only way to prove it, first of all, you have to prove you're not physically immortal. So on that theory, you are already physically immortal until you prove otherwise. So if you want to prove that I am not physically immortal, you will have to stick around for the next 300 to 1,000 years to see who makes it, to see who actually reach or attain immortality consciousness, which is what's all that's really required is for you to become physically immortal, is to activate, enhance, and amplify immortality consciousness. You see, the only ones who cannot achieve immortality are the ones who say they cannot achieve immortality. It's the same with manifesting millions of dollars, or healing an incurable disease, or accomplishing anything in life. For me, I'm on my 6th book. And if you guys have been following my writings and been following my videos and been following my energy, you will know my next masterpiece is coming along. And I want to get it up and running and take prepayments and get financial backing and use that as part of the world tour of the Shibambu movement as I make my way across the planet, in Africa, across the United States, Canada, Australia, Germany, Japan. I just heard about a Japanese Shibambu group out there, and I want to get to know who they are. And I've already got my 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th book dropping in past this book. I had books that I put on hold to write. One is called The Inescapable Life. The other, it's a book series, and the other one is entitled There Is No Box. And so stay tuned. There's going to be more and more great stuff coming through. There may be an adult coloring book and a children's book. I'm not sure about that yet. All right, guys, let's talk about physical mortality. Let's read about physical mortality. Let's produce ideas, possibly documentary, where we go around the world and interview the immortals. It's time to break totally free of the so-called box, of the so-called limitations and the so-called restrictions that you have ever had been put on you, either by another person or yourself. And discussing physical mortality and auto-urine therapy are two of the most powerful ways that I know to break your mind open, to free yourself, including using affirmations and the powers of the I am and the spoken word. If you want to have any of those conversations, you let me know. So we're coming to a close now. I don't know if anybody ever made it on this call, but tonight's satsang was about discussing physical mortality as a way to not only save your mind and save your body from self-destruction, it is also a way to save humanity from killing themselves or the planet. So blessings, blessings. Let's talk about this forever. Om Namah Shivaya.